Something unprecedented has just happened in North Africa. Algeria, under the leadership of President Abdelmadjid Tebboune, has officially received a fighter jet that until now was considered off-limits to all but the most elite global powers. The announcement has sparked immediate reactions from Western defense circles, and military observers are calling it one of the most consequential arms acquisitions in the region's recent history. Why was Algeria granted access to this jet? What makes this aircraft so powerful that even NATO members are watching closely? And more importantly, what does this mean for the future of power and deterrence in the Maghreb and beyond? This is not just about military hardware. It's a signal that Algeria is entering a new strategic era. Algeria has long been recognized as one of Africa's most heavily armed nations, but under the leadership of President Abdelmadjid Tebboune, its defense strategy has taken a decisive turn. Unlike previous administrations that focused primarily on maintaining a strong conventional army, Tebboune has pushed for technological superiority, strategic deterrence, and regional air dominance. This shift reflects a growing awareness within Algiers. Military power today is not just about numbers, but about precision, reach, and technological edge. Over the past 2 decades, Algeria has made several significant acquisitions, from the Su-30 Mk multi-role fighters, tailored specifically for Algerian needs, to the MiG-29 and Yak-130 for pilot training and air defense. Algeria has consistently invested in quality over quantity. These acquisitions placed Algeria well ahead of many regional peers, but the latest purchase marks a leap into a new class altogether. This transformation is occurring against a tense regional backdrop. Across the western border, Morocco has expanded its military cooperation with Western allies, acquiring cutting-edge drones, American F-16 fighters, and advanced surveillance systems. To the east, Libya's ongoing instability has turned it into a hotbed for arms trafficking, proxy militias, and foreign intervention. Meanwhile, Algeria has grown increasingly wary of NATO reconnaissance flights along the Mediterranean and what it perceives as Western encroachment on North African sovereignty. In this environment, the pursuit of fifth-generation fighter technology is not just a matter of prestige, it's seen as essential. Fifth-gen aircraft offer stealth, integrated sensors, and superior avionics, enabling a single platform to conduct multiple missions with unprecedented efficiency. For Algeria, gaining access to this class of jet is about sending a message. It no longer intends to remain a regional military power. It wants to position itself as a strategic player with global reach and advanced deterrence capabilities. By securing this elite aircraft, Tebboune is not just responding to immediate threats. He is re-engineering Algeria's defense doctrine for the next generation. The aircraft Algeria has reportedly acquired is the Sukhoi Su-57 Felon, Russia's most advanced fifth-generation fighter jet, and a machine that has until now only been operationally deployed by the Russian Air Force. This deal marks a historical milestone. Algeria is not only the first foreign country to receive the Su-57, but also the first African nation to operate a true fifth-generation stealth fighter, an achievement that radically shifts the balance of military power in the region. So what makes the Su-57 so formidable? Unlike its predecessors, the Su-57 was designed from the ground up to embody the 5 defining characteristics of fifth-generation combat aircraft: stealth, supermaneuverability, advanced avionics, integrated electronic warfare systems, and multi-role flexibility. Its stealth features are built into the very structure of the aircraft, with radar-absorbing composite materials and internal weapon bays that reduce radar signature. While not as stealthy as the American F-35 in frontal profile, the Su-57 is significantly harder to detect than fourth-gen fighters and boasts superior agility in air combat scenarios. The Su-57 is equipped with the N-036 Bielka active electronically scanned array radar system, offering 360-degree situational awareness and the ability to track and engage multiple targets simultaneously. It also features a powerful infrared search and track (IRST) system, enabling it to detect stealth aircraft at close to medium range, something the F-35 has often been criticized for lacking. When it comes to firepower, the Su-57 doesn't compromise. It can carry a variety of air-to-air and air-to-surface missiles, including the R-77M, K-77, and KH-59M K2, as well as precision-guided bombs, all tucked inside its internal bays to preserve stealth. Perhaps most concerning to rival forces is its rumored compatibility with hypersonic missiles, giving it a strike capability that can outrun most defensive systems. In electronic warfare, the Su-57 integrates cutting-edge jamming and countermeasure systems that make it extremely difficult to target, even with advanced radar-guided weapons. This level of electronic shielding rivals, and in some aspects exceeds, the capabilities of the F-22 Raptor, long considered the gold standard of air dominance. But what truly elevates the Su-57's strategic power is its multi-role design. This is not a specialized dogfighter or a dedicated bomber. It's a hybrid platform capable of engaging in air superiority, deep strike, electronic suppression, and intelligence gathering all in a single sortie. In combat scenarios, this allows Algeria to deploy fewer aircraft while achieving broader mission objectives, saving both time and operational resources. Comparisons with Western fighters are inevitable. The F-35, while technologically superior in stealth and network integration, lacks the maneuverability and speed of the Su-57. The French Rafale, which has gained popularity in North Africa through deals with Egypt and Morocco, is highly capable but remains a fourth-generation plus jet with limited stealth and older radar technology. The Su-57 stands apart not just in performance, but in the political signal it sends. Russia has authorized a level of military trust with Algeria that it has not extended even to China or India. For these reasons, military analysts consider the Su-57 the most powerful combat aircraft ever authorized for export. Its arrival in Algeria is not just a tactical upgrade, it's a strategic game-changer. It gives Algeria the ability to project power far beyond its borders, defend its airspace with unmatched capability, and potentially deter any state, regional or global, from threatening its interests. With this acquisition, Algeria has positioned itself not only as a dominant force in the Maghreb, but also as a rising military power in the global south, one that now commands the sky with one of the world's deadliest war machines. Algeria's acquisition of the Su-57 didn't happen in a vacuum. It was the result of years of quiet diplomacy, strategic alignment, and geopolitical shifts that created the perfect conditions for such a high-level defense transfer. At the center of this maneuver is President Abdelmadjid Tebboune, whose foreign policy has leaned heavily toward strengthening ties with Russia and China, two powers increasingly isolated from the West but eager to expand their influence across Africa. Algeria, a long-standing customer of Russian arms since the Cold War, was seen as a reliable and stable partner in a turbulent region. But under Tebboune, that relationship deepened significantly. Joint military exercises, intelligence sharing agreements, and energy coordination have elevated Algeria's status from a client state to a strategic ally in Moscow's view. With the outbreak of the Ukraine war, the global order began to shift dramatically. Western sanctions on Russia cut off many of its traditional arms customers in Europe and complicated its access to global markets. At the same time, Russia sought to strengthen partnerships in Africa, Latin America, and Asia. Algeria, a member of OPEC+ and a rising influence within the BRICS+ dialogue, emerged as a key conduit for maintaining Russia's defense export relevance. While U.S. sanctions on Russian arms through KATSA, countering America's adversaries through Sanctions Act, apply to many countries, Algeria has walked a careful line, structuring deals through state-controlled intermediaries, using non-dollar currency systems, and leveraging dual-use agreements that technically fall outside direct sanctions violations. Russia, in turn, offered the Su-57 not only as a political gesture, but as a demonstration that its defense industry remains open for business. China has also played a supporting role. While not directly involved in the Su-57 deal, Beijing's growing ties with Algeria have offered an additional buffer. China sees Algeria as a key North African hub in its Belt and Road Initiative, and its silent backing gives Algeria more room to navigate pressure from the West. Moreover, China's own fifth-generation jets, such as the J-31, were reportedly considered by Algeria early in the procurement process, indicating that Tebboune used multi-vendor interest as leverage in final negotiations with Moscow. Ultimately, Algeria was allowed access to the Su-57 because of its unique geopolitical positioning, a loyal Russian ally, a politically independent African power, and a nation that has avoided entanglement in NATO's strategic orbit. The deal signals not only military cooperation, but also trust. Algeria has become the first testing ground for Russia's global fifth-gen arms export policy, a role that carries both opportunity and risk. Tebboune's diplomatic success lies in seizing a moment when global alignments are in flux. While many nations distanced themselves from Russia, Algeria moved closer, and as a result, gained access to one of the world's most coveted defense platforms. The arrival of the Su-57 in Algeria has triggered swift and uneasy responses from both regional rivals and global powers. While officially few governments have commented on the record, the signals coming from military sources, leaked memos, and media analysis are unmistakable. Algeria's neighbors and Western partners are concerned, some even alarmed. Morocco, Algeria's primary regional rival, is among the most directly affected. The two countries share a long history of political hostility, military tension, and unresolved border disputes, notably over Western Sahara. While Rabat has made major investments in its military, purchasing advanced F-16 fighters from the United States, Israeli surveillance systems, and Turkish drones, Algeria's acquisition of a fifth-generation stealth jet represents a qualitative leap. According to reports from Moroccan defense circles, the Ministry of Defense has called for an immediate reassessment of its air strategy and urged the acceleration of new arms contracts with Western allies. There are also indications that Morocco may seek a formal upgrade to the F-35 program, which has thus far been reserved for closer U.S. allies. Across the Mediterranean, France and the United States are monitoring developments closely. Though both countries maintain working relationships with Algeria, their military analysts are reportedly concerned about the implications of a Russian fifth-generation jet operating just south of NATO's southern flank. U.S. intelligence briefings have flagged Algeria's acquisition as a potential disruptor to regional stability, particularly given the aircraft's long-range capabilities and advanced electronic warfare systems. France, still heavily invested in the Sahel region, sees Algeria's military rise as both a challenge and a recalibration point. Paris has long relied on Algerian airspace access and intelligence coordination. The presence of a stealth fighter capable of evading Western radar systems has raised questions about NATO's surveillance and control in the Western Mediterranean, especially as Algeria grows closer to Moscow and distances itself from Western frameworks. NATO and the European Union have also raised quiet alarms over the militarization of North Africa. Although Algeria is not a member of NATO, its location near key sea routes, proximity to southern Europe, and expanding ties with Russia make it a strategic variable in any Mediterranean security equation. Brussels has reportedly discussed the need for increased monitoring of North African air activity in recent defense coordination meetings. Elsewhere in the region, Israel's defense commentators have noted the potential for Algeria's new capabilities to shift the balance of deterrence across North Africa. While Algeria and Israel have no diplomatic relations, Israeli media outlets have interpreted the Su-57 acquisition as part of a broader anti-Western alignment in the region that includes Iran and Syria. Egypt, for its part, has responded more cautiously. As another Russian arms client, Cairo is watching closely, possibly considering whether to request access to similar technology in the future. In sub-Saharan Africa, reactions are more muted but not insignificant. Countries like Mali, Niger, and Chad, which rely on Algerian cooperation for regional security, are now operating under the shadow of a military power whose air force has leapfrogged several generations ahead. Some analysts argue this could increase Algeria's diplomatic leverage across the continent, particularly in security, mediation, and counterterrorism roles. In short, Algeria's move has not gone unnoticed. The geopolitical chessboard of North Africa is being redrawn, and those who once saw Algeria as a static military force must now reevaluate their assumptions. The skies over the Maghreb have changed, and so has the conversation in every war room that borders it. Algeria's acquisition of the Su-57 marks far more than a headline-worthy purchase. It signals a deep structural shift in the regional and continental balance of power, particularly in the Maghreb, the Sahel, and the wider Mediterranean basin. First and foremost, this development reshapes air superiority in North Africa. For years, Algeria and Morocco have maintained a tense but relatively balanced military standoff, relying on fleets of fourth-generation aircraft, ground-based missile systems, and border deployments. With the introduction of a true fifth-generation stealth fighter, Algeria has effectively broken that parity, the Su-57's combination of stealth, range, and electronic warfare capability gives Algeria the ability to dominate airspace not just over its own territory, but far beyond its borders. In a conflict scenario, it could neutralize enemy radar systems, command air dominance, and strike deep into hostile territory, all before its presence is even detected. This has major implications for Morocco's military planning and could trigger a regional arms race as neighboring countries seek to close the capability gap. But it also gives Algeria the strategic upper hand in shaping future security dynamics in the region. The effects go beyond bilateral rivalry. In the Sahel, a region plagued by insurgency, terrorism, and state collapse, Algeria has historically positioned itself as a neutral but powerful actor. Now, with advanced fifth-gen air assets, Algeria could extend its counter-terrorism and surveillance operations deeper into Mali, Niger, and even parts of southern Libya. The Su-57's long-range sensors, low visibility, and precision strike capability make it ideal for high-value targeting of insurgent camps or weapons convoys. This would allow Algeria to play a greater role in stabilizing the Sahel, on its own terms and without relying on Western-led interventions. Energy infrastructure, a backbone of Algeria's economy, is another area set to benefit. Algeria's oil and gas pipelines, many of which run close to its borders or through sparsely monitored desert zones, are frequent targets of sabotage and trafficking routes. With the Su-57, Algeria can now monitor and defend vast stretches of critical infrastructure more effectively, deterring attacks before they materialize. The aircraft's intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance (ISR) systems could even be integrated with satellite data and drone operations for round-the-clock monitoring. Equally important is how this acquisition signals a doctrinal modernization of Algeria's military strategy. Historically shaped by Soviet-era tactics, emphasizing quantity, heavy armor, and layered defense, Algeria's armed forces are now clearly moving toward a model built around precision, mobility, and high-tech warfare. The Su-57 is not just an aircraft, it represents a new mindset, one that prioritizes electronic dominance, stealth engagement, and multi-domain coordination, from air to cyber to space. This modernization will likely accelerate broader reforms within Algeria's defense establishment. Pilots will require elite-level training to operate the Su-57, forcing a revamp of Algeria's air academies and joint command systems. Maintenance teams will have to adopt next-generation diagnostic and logistical systems, increasing the military's overall technical capacity. Furthermore, integration of the Su-57 into war games, border patrols, and strategic drills will reshape Algeria's readiness and response posture. On the geopolitical stage, this shift enhances Algeria's bargaining power not only with its immediate neighbors, but with global players. As the only African country operating a fifth-generation jet, Algeria becomes a potential security provider rather than just a consumer, able to influence peacekeeping missions, air defense cooperation, and even the terms of foreign military access to North African airspace. In sum, the arrival of the Su-57 transforms Algeria from a strong regional player into a strategic air power with continental reach and growing global relevance. It alters the rules of engagement across the Maghreb, reinforces Algeria's position in the Sahel, and future-proofs its military doctrine for a new era of warfare, an era where visibility is vulnerability, and power belongs to those who command the invisible edge. While Algeria's acquisition of the Su-57 marks a strategic leap forward, it also introduces a new set of risks and challenges that could complicate the long-term success of this move. One of the most immediate concerns is the enormous cost of maintenance and pilot training. Fifth-generation aircraft are not only expensive to purchase, they require continuous technical support, specialized facilities, and highly trained personnel. The Su-57 in particular demands complex diagnostics, stealth surface upkeep, and advanced simulation training programs. For a country like Algeria, which is still developing parts of its defense logistics infrastructure, sustaining the jet's full operational capability will be a financial and institutional challenge. Another vulnerability is Algeria's reliance on foreign parts and support, especially from Russia, a country currently under heavy international sanctions. If Russia's access to key components becomes restricted, Algeria could face delays in spare parts, software upgrades, or weapons packages. This would limit the Su-57's availability or force Algeria to seek parallel support channels, raising costs and risks of supply chain disruptions. There's also the danger of triggering a regional arms race. Morocco, already uneasy with Algeria's growing military capacity, may seek rapid upgrades to its own air force, possibly lobbying for access to the F-35 or ramping up its drone and missile defense systems. Such moves could escalate tensions in the Maghreb, making diplomatic resolution of long-standing issues like Western Sahara even more difficult. Finally, Algeria must navigate potential political backlash from Western allies. While it has managed to balance its foreign relations carefully, a deeper military alignment with Russia could invite scrutiny or even sanctions from the US and the EU. Algeria will need to carefully manage its diplomatic messaging, emphasizing sovereignty and regional stability to avoid isolation. In short, while the Su-57 offers Algeria new power, sustaining that power will demand discipline, investment, and careful diplomacy. At the heart of Algeria's historic military breakthrough stands President Abdelmadjid Tebboune, a leader whose tenure has been marked by quiet but significant shifts in the nation's strategic posture. While much of Tebboune's early presidency focused on stabilizing Algeria's economy and navigating domestic unrest, his recent moves suggest a broader, long-term vision, transforming Algeria into a self-reliant regional power with modern military capabilities at its core. Historically, Algeria leaned heavily on oil and gas diplomacy, leveraging its energy exports to Europe and the Arab world to secure influence and funding. But under Tebboune, that approach is evolving. While energy remains important, Algeria is increasingly presenting itself as a security actor, a country that can defend its borders, protect its interests, and even shape outcomes in neighboring regions like the Sahel and Western Sahara. The Su-57 acquisition is the clearest sign yet of this new strategic direction. It's not just about buying a jet, it's about asserting Algeria's place in a world where military capability often defines diplomatic weight. With this move, Tebboune is carving out a legacy that sets him apart from his predecessors, one of ambition, modernization, and geopolitical recalibration. His growing stature on the African continent reflects this shift. Algeria is increasingly seen as a counterweight to foreign intervention, a military partner that offers alternatives to Western-led security frameworks. Whether through arms deals, joint exercises, or diplomatic mediation, Tebboune is positioning Algeria as an independent power broker, one that can shape outcomes rather than simply react to them. To some observers, this may even represent Tebboune's Putin moment, a strategic gamble to elevate national pride, assert sovereignty, and consolidate long-term influence through military strength. The coming years will determine whether this bold vision cements his legacy or leads Algeria into new geopolitical turbulence. Either way, he has redrawn the map of Algerian leadership, with fighter jets at its edges. Algeria didn't just acquire a cutting-edge fighter jet, it redefined its strategic identity. With the Su-57, President Tebboune has done more than modernize the Algerian Air Force. He has projected a new kind of power across North Africa and the Sahel. This move signals a shift from cautious regional presence to bold military assertion. But power always invites challenge. With stealth and precision now part of Algeria's arsenal, its neighbors, rivals, and global observers will be forced to reassess their own positions. The question isn't whether the Su-57 can fly, it's whether its presence will stabilize the region or set the stage for greater confrontation. So now the world watches and asks, will Algeria's rise usher in peace through strength or ignite the next great power standoff in North Africa? If you found this analysis insightful, please take a moment to like the video, share your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe for more in-depth updates on global military developments and geopolitical shifts. Your engagement helps us bring you the latest news and expert perspectives. Stay tuned as we continue to follow Algeria's rise and its impact on the future of regional security.